Was Genghis Khan a brilliant military mastermind who reshaped the world, or just a ruthless conqueror who left a trail of destruction in his wake? Did his campaigns truly foster unprecedented cultural exchange, or did they come at the devastating cost of millions of lives? Let's take a closer look.
Imagine this. It's the early 13th century, and the world is about to be shaken to its core. Enter Genghis Khan, a charismatic, brilliant strategist who didn't just lead, he revolutionized everything. He took the scattered, constantly warring Mongol tribes and forged them into an unstoppable force. This wasn't just leadership, it was the birth of the largest land empire the world has ever seen. But here's the catch. Genghis Khan didn't build his empire solely through brute force. He was a master of strategy, a pioneer of military tactics, and a visionary whose ambitions stretched far beyond the Mongolian steppes. In this video, we're diving deep into what makes Genghis Khan's legacy so incredibly complex and fascinating. We'll break it down into three key areas: his strategic genius and leadership. From uniting the fractured Mongol tribes to reshaping the world map, Genghis Khan's vision and tactics were nothing short of groundbreaking. The brutal reality of his conquests. Let's be honest, his campaigns were incredibly violent, with millions of lives tragically lost in his relentless pursuit of dominance. The paradox of his legacy: on one hand, groundbreaking innovations; on the other, sheer brutality. His impact on history remains as profound as it is controversial.
Part 1. The Struggling Nomad and His Early Trials.
Genghis Khan wasn't born an emperor. He built himself into one. Seriously, his story doesn't begin with power. It starts with a desperate struggle for survival. Back then, he was just a kid named Temüjin, growing up amidst the chaos of constant tribal warfare. His father, poisoned by his rivals. His family, cast out and left to fend for themselves in the harsh wilderness. Imagine being a kid and watching your entire world crumble around you. Temüjin's life was a constant struggle, betrayal, violence, and a daily fight for survival. They barely had enough to eat. But here's the thing. Instead of being crushed by the pressure, he used it to fuel his rise. He wasn't about to settle for just surviving. He harbored a crazy dream: to unite all the warring Mongol tribes. The thing is, these tribes weren't exactly the best of friends. They were stuck in endless feuds, fighting over scraps, which made them easy targets for outsiders. Temüjin saw the big picture. If they didn't come together, they'd get wiped out. So he got to work. He demanded unwavering loyalty and transformed them into disciplined, battle-hardened warriors. People followed him not just because he was a fierce warrior, but because he inspired them to believe in something greater. By the time Temüjin began his rise to power, he wasn't just a warrior with a sword, he was an unstoppable force. His struggles weren't just setbacks, they were the foundation of Mongolian dominance.
So, Temüjin's dad gets poisoned, and his family is exiled. Sounds like the perfect recipe for a future world conqueror, right?
You're telling me nothing builds character quite like exile and starvation. Practically a motivational poster waiting to happen.
Instead of therapy, he's like, let's unite some tribes and burn everything.
Major childhood trauma, but make it productive vibes. He clearly channeled his pain into something constructive.
Part 2. The Mongol War Machine.
Let's talk about the unstoppable force that was the Mongol War Machine. At its heart, the elite cavalry. These guys weren't just skilled, they were a force of nature. Fast, disciplined, and perfectly coordinated, Genghis Khan's horsemen could outmaneuver almost anyone. They'd strike with lightning speed and vanish before their enemies even knew what hit them, leaving chaos and destruction in their wake. This incredible mobility was key. It was the foundation of Mongol dominance, allowing them to strike hard and disappear like shadows. But here's the genius of Genghis Khan. He knew brute force alone wouldn't conquer the world. Victory demanded constant innovation and the ability to adapt to any situation. Take his feigned retreats, for example. He'd have his troops pretend to flee, luring enemy forces into deadly traps where they'd be completely surrounded and annihilated. Combine that with their devastating flanking maneuvers and lightning-fast blitzkrieg attacks, and you have an army that kept its enemies constantly guessing and ultimately losing. But Genghis Khan's brilliance wasn't just tactical, it was political too. His military victories not only united the fractured Mongol tribes, but also transformed them into a disciplined, cohesive fighting force. The Yasa, his code of laws, further strengthened this unity, establishing clear rules and fostering fierce loyalty among his followers. And then there's their mastery of siege warfare. When facing the Jin dynasty in northern China, the Mongols didn't just storm castles. They unleashed the power of nature itself, flooding entire cities by diverting rivers. Let that sink in for a moment. And remember the Khwarezmian Empire? After the Khwarezmian ruler executed Mongol envoys, Genghis Khan didn't just retaliate, he unleashed a wave of destruction. Cities like Merv were completely wiped off the map as a chilling warning to anyone who dared to cross it. This deadly combination of speed, strategy, and sheer military might made the Mongols virtually invincible. Under Genghis Khan's command, they revolutionized warfare, leaving even the strongest armies struggling to survive.
The Mongol War Machine was basically hit and run on a colossal scale. Their cavalry didn't fight, they hunted.
Fast, disciplined, and gone before their enemies even knew what hit them. Literal ghost riders.
And Genghis, genius enough to pretend to retreat, then encircle everyone like a psychopath playing chess.
He made warfare look like an art project, except the paint was blood and the canvas was the entire battlefield.
Part 3. The Empire that stretched across continents.
Genghis Khan didn't just conquer lands. He built the largest contiguous land empire in history. We're talking about a realm that stretched from East Asia all the way to Eastern Europe. That kind of domination wasn't just about brute force. It was a masterful blend of military genius and shrewd diplomacy. Under his rule, the Mongol Empire transformed into a vast interconnected world, a place where trade, culture, and ideas flowed more freely than ever before. Genghis Khan understood something crucial. Commerce was the lifeblood of any great empire, so he made securing and expanding critical trade routes like the legendary Silk Road a top priority. These routes didn't just bring in wealth, they connected civilizations, sparking an unprecedented exchange of goods, knowledge, and cultures. But here's the remarkable part. He even went to war to eliminate trade barriers, paving the way for a more open and flourishing global marketplace. That's how forward-thinking he truly was. He wasn't just building an empire of land. He was creating an empire of opportunity and interconnectedness. Then there's the Tarkan system. Essentially, it was Genghis Khan's way of saying, if you're valuable to the empire, whether you're a skilled craftsman, a merchant, or part of a religious institution, you're in. He granted them tax exemptions, which not only stimulated economic growth, but also earned the loyalty of diverse groups within his empire. As a result, cities along these vital trade routes flourished, becoming vibrant hubs of commerce and innovation. The Mongols weren't just conquerors. They were the ultimate guardians of global trade, creating a network that reshaped the known world. At its peak, the Mongol Empire wasn't just a massive geopolitical force. It was a revolutionary power that redefined the very concept of an empire, connecting distant civilizations in ways previously unimaginable.
Genghis didn't just conquer continents. He basically turned the world into a Mongol-sponsored global highway. Trade routes? Check.
The Silk Road was his empire's information superhighway, connecting everything. Goods, ideas, cultures. He made it all go viral.
And if someone blocked his trade, he didn't negotiate. He went full scorched earth. Problem solved.
This guy wasn't building an empire, he was hosting history's first global networking event, with tax breaks and a very strict no trespassing policy.
Part 4. Stability and Legacy.
Genghis Khan wasn't just a conqueror who rode into battle and then disappeared. He was a visionary statesman with a long-term vision. He understood that building an empire was only the first step. Maintaining it, ensuring stability, prosperity, and a strong foundation, that was the real challenge. And he rose to it brilliantly. Through a network of well-maintained trade routes and secure passageways, Genghis Khan transformed his empire into a bridge between East and West. The Silk Road, once a dangerous and unpredictable path, was revitalized under his rule. Merchants, travelers, and ideas flowed freely, truly shrinking the world in the most positive sense. But his genius extended far beyond military conquest and trade. He established religious tolerance across his vast empire and implemented a consistent legal system, creating a safe and thriving environment for diverse cultures. Even in the most remote corners of his domain, his influence was felt. From the rise of private land ownership in Russia to the bustling cosmopolitan trade hubs like Karakoram, people didn't just obey Genghis Khan out of fear, they prospered under his rule. Yes, the Mongols had a reputation for brutality, but they also brought peace and prosperity to regions that had been plagued by chaos for centuries. His empire wasn't just a collection of conquered territories, it was a carefully managed system that fostered trade, culture, and innovation. Even his enemies couldn't deny the empire's remarkable success in uniting vast, diverse territories under one stable administration. Genghis Khan's unique blend of military brilliance and exceptional governance didn't just create an empire, it reshaped the course of human history. His legacy, a lasting interconnectedness and stability that profoundly influenced global trade, politics, and culture for generations to come. Genghis Khan wasn't just one of history's greatest conquerors, he was one of its most transformative progressive leaders.
Genghis wasn't just about conquering, he practically invented the world's first global express lane, trade routes, revamped and revitalized.
He took the Silk Road from death trap to merchant superhighway. This guy made globalization cool before it was even a concept.
And religious tolerance. Surprisingly progressive for a guy whose hobbies included, obliterating cities.
Brutal, sure, but he also brought peace and order. Basically, the ultimate destroyer/diplomat.
Part 5. The Aftermath and the Price of Ambition.
Genghis Khan's conquests cemented his place in history as an immortal legend. He not only unified the Mongols, but also built the largest land empire the world has ever witnessed. His name remains synonymous with unmatched power and domination. But here's the reality. Even the most ambitious leaders must eventually face the consequences of their dreams. After his death, the empire continued to expand, but internal struggles and external challenges began to emerge. His successors, particularly Kublai Khan, pushed to expand the Mongol legacy even further. However, these ambitions sometimes proved to be their undoing. The disastrous invasions of Japan serve as a stark reminder. The Mongols, with limited naval experience and hastily constructed ships, were no match for the fierce resistance of the Japanese, or the infamous typhoons, the divine winds that decimated much of their fleet. This humbling experience underscored the limitations of even the most powerful empire. And then there's the enduring mystery surrounding Genghis Khan's death. Was it battle wounds, illness, or a fall from his horse? No one truly knows. The secrecy surrounding his burial site, its location remains one of history's greatest unsolved mysteries, speaks volumes about the reverence his people held for him. But let's be honest, Genghis Khan's legacy extends far beyond the territories he conquered. You can still see its echoes today in global trade networks, innovative military strategies, and legal systems that continue to shape the world. His story is a constant reminder of the inevitable tension between greatness and its inherent costs. Yes, Genghis Khan revolutionized warfare and governance, but these triumphs came at a devastating price. Whole cities were destroyed and countless lives were lost. It's a powerful reminder that the pursuit of glory often leaves a trail of destruction in its wake. And yet, his vision and impact continue to reverberate through history, long after the empire itself has faded into legend.
Genghis dies and his empire keeps rolling, at least until Kublai decides to go seafaring.
Yeah, turns out divine winds and untested naval tactics aren't a great combo. Who knew?
And let's not forget his mysterious death. Illness, wounds, horse accident, classic don't ask, don't tell. The man knew how to maintain an air of mystery.
Even his tomb's on ghost mode. That's peak legendary status, the ultimate disappearing act.
Genghis Khan's unification of the Mongol tribes wasn't just a political victory. It was a masterclass in leadership and visionary thinking. Consider this. How does someone take a scattered group of nomadic clans and transform them into the largest contiguous land empire in history? Through sheer strategic brilliance and an unwavering drive for unity, he reshaped the world, connecting East and West in ways previously unimaginable. But let's not shy away from the brutality of his conquests. His campaigns were ruthless. Millions perished. Entire cities were obliterated. Yet this wasn't simply mindless destruction. It was a calculated strategy to instill fear and demand absolute loyalty. Terrifying? Absolutely. Effective? Undoubtedly. So, why does this all matter today? The Mongol Empire was more than just a product of war. It was a pivotal moment in human history. Genghis Khan's innovations in governance, trade, and law brought stability to a vast and diverse empire, laying the groundwork for many of the global systems we see today. His legacy serves as a stark reminder of history's inherent contradictions, how visionary leadership can coexist with unthinkable destruction. It compels us to grapple with the complexities of greatness and the often devastating price of ambition. Ultimately, Genghis Khan's story isn't just about the empire he built. It's about the profound impact one leader's vision can have on the world. His influence continues to resonate today, leaving us with questions that still challenge and fascinate us centuries later.
Thanks for watching. If you're ready to dive deeper, check out the History Blueprint podcast, linked in the description below.
Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop for our next historical adventure.
Don't forget to hit that like button and let us know which historical figure we should cover next in the comments.